Hi, this is Ms. Benson with AC Jones High School. Today, we're going to be learning how to answer the short answer portion on your STAR test. I want you to remember one simple phrase: APE, physical therapy. Now, what does that stand for? I'm about to tell you. A is for answer, P is for proof, E is for explain, P is for proof, T is for truism. But Ms. Benson, I don't know what any of that means. Don't worry, kids, I'm going to tell you. A. Answer the question, restate the prompt. Remember, your thesis statement. Things to think about. Number 1, what is the title of the story? When you restate the prompt, you don't want to say, this passage. What passage are you talking about? I need to know. Are you talking about her passage? Are you talking about his passage? What is the name of the passage? Number 2, what lesson is the author trying to teach you? What is the author's purpose? Writing is not easy, you know this. So the author didn't just sit down and say, let me write a story about a girl in a place with a thing. No, they got much more detailed than that. They sat down, they took their time, and it was so good that it got published and it's in your hands right now to read it. So, why did they take the time to show you this lesson? Like, what are they trying to teach you? Are they trying to teach you about racism? Are they trying to teach you how to be a good person? What are you supposed to be getting out of this story? This will help you have an in-depth answer. Yes, it hurts your head, you have to think, but you gotta do it. So an example question is, what is the theme of this passage? And it has a question mark. A lot of my students have been having trouble with restating the prompt. They look at this prompt, what is the theme of this passage, and they don't know how to turn it back into a statement. No fear, kids, I'm here. What is makes it a question. The question mark makes it a question. Remove those two things and you have a fragment. The theme of this passage is what? I don't know. We're going to develop that in a minute. Next thing you need to be thinking about, what does this word mean? Theme. Theme is the same as the main idea. You're going to have to define that in your thesis sentence. That's a lot for number 1, for the A. You ready for P? Because here we go. Our next step is proof. Use text evidence to prove your thesis statement. Things to think about. Lead into the quote. For more information on how to lead into the quote, please see the comments below this video. Next, paraphrase. Paraphrase is also known as an indirect quote. That's where you take something from the text and you use your own words to describe it. 3, a direct quote. That's when you use quotation marks to lift whole pieces of the text or parts of the text to fulfill this requirement. Number 4, an ellipsis. An ellipsis is 3 periods, one placed right after the other. Now the purpose of the ellipsis is either to delete part of the text at the beginning of the quote that isn't useful to your purpose, or to delete part of the text at the end of the quote that isn't useful to your purpose. They can also be used in the middle, but that gets a little more tricky. For more ellipsis usage, please see my next video. Now we have E for explain. Explain what the text evidence shows you. Provide an insight. Things to think about. Do not restate the quote in your own words. Do not paraphrase. You need to be putting your thesis statement and the quote you just used together to create new material. So please refrain from repeating what you've already said. So create a deeper meaning relating to the characters or situation. If you're not sure how to create a deeper meaning, look back at the problems that your character is facing. What is their main problem? What is their main situation? And elaborate on that. But please make sure that you tie it back to your thesis statement and that it still relates to the quote that you just provided. Proof again. After you create this new bit of knowledge, you have to show proof that you're not just pulling it out of thin air. You have to show that the author was indeed trying to prove that as well. So you're going to repeat this step of including text evidence to prove your thesis statement. Now this part becomes tricky because this one, your second piece of evidence, has to support your previous statement that you have just written, and it also has to tie back into your thesis statement, your original thesis statement. So make sure that each piece fits together and creates a nice paper. Lastly, T for truism. What is a truism? It's a statement that is true to all humans in general. It has to be true for boys, it has to be true for girls, it has to be true for older people, younger people, everybody. Things to think about when writing a truism: must apply to me, you, him, and she. Must apply to me, you, him, and she. If it doesn't, when you read it back to yourself, then you're doing it wrong. Revise it and try again. Next, it does not repeat the thesis statement, but adds meaning to it. Guys, I'm going to tell you, on these tests, they're looking for deeper meaning. If you only get through stating a thesis statement and you only provide one quote, that's going to be a 2 at best. This is the key to a 3 or a 4 on this test because they want you to think. If you look back at step 1 with creating your thesis statement, that's easy. You restate the prompt. Step 2, you get a quote that supports that prompt statement that you've just made. That's easy too because you're lifting text and putting it in your statement. Step 3, you're writing new material. Yes, that's a little bit harder, but it's still not as hard as this one is. Step 4, proving it again. Again, only lifting material. So guys, this is how you get to score a 3 or a 4. Remember that we talked about in class. This is going swimming in that 30-foot swimming pool. Alright? So take the leap from walking along the bottom and then swimming out to the 6-foot part where you can still bounce back up. You have to take the big leap into the 30-foot pool. You can either swim or you can sink. This is your solution. Good luck, guys.